There's a specific kind of embarrassment that hits you in your 30s. You're at someone's house, they serve roast potatoes, and they're perfect, shatteringly crispy on the outside, fluffy in the middle, the kind that make you close your eyes when you bite into them. And you think, I've been making roast potatoes my whole life. How did I not know this? That feeling, that specific mix of wonder and mild betrayal. That's what this whole video is, because the tricks I'm about to show you aren't new. They're not trendy. They're not from some chef with a Michelin star and a book deal. Most of them came from women who lived through rationing, who hated waste more than anything, who figured this stuff out because they had to. And somewhere along the way, we forgot. So, 20 tricks, under 15 minutes, every single one works, and a few of them are going to properly annoy you, because they're so simple you'll wonder why nobody told you sooner. Number 20. Salt your aubergine an hour early. Slice it. Sprinkle both sides with fine salt. Leave it for 45 minutes. You'll see dark liquid bead up on the surface. Wipe that away. That liquid? That's bitterness. That's the harsh, almost metallic edge that makes cheap aubergine taste like a mistake. But here's the part nobody mentions in those 60-second recipe videos. Salted aubergine absorbs half the oil of unsalted. Half. The salt collapses the little air pockets inside the flesh. So instead of drinking up oil like a sponge when it hits the pan, it stays rich without getting greasy. 1 teaspoon of salt, 45 minutes. That's it. Number 19. Freeze your ginger. Fresh ginger root. Into the freezer, whole, unpeeled, done. When you need it, grate it frozen on a fine microplane. The fibres that normally clog everything up, they just break apart. You get this fine, fluffy snow of ginger that melts straight into whatever you're making, and you don't even need to peel it. The skin grates right off with the flesh. That 50p knob of ginger at the supermarket. It used to last 5 days. Now it lasts 8 weeks. Your nan didn't have a microplane, but she knew about freezing ginger because she hated waste more than she hated washing up. Number 18. Soak your onions after cutting. Raw onion too sharp for your salad? Too aggressive for a burger? Slice the rings. Submerge them in ice water for 10 minutes. The cold draws out the sulfur compounds, the things that make you cry, the things that make raw onion taste like an argument. Drain. Pat dry. What you've got left is an onion that's still crunchy, still present, but mild, almost sweet, something you actually want to eat. Fish and chip shops have been doing this to their pickled onion rings for decades. You just didn't know it was a trick. Number 17. Cold pan for bacon. Don't preheat the pan, I know. It goes against everything. But lay your rashers flat in a cold pan, turn the heat to medium and just wait. As the pan heats slowly, the fat renders gradually instead of seizing up. No burnt edges while the middle stays floppy. No shrinking into a curled up crispy disaster. Just evenly golden, properly crisp bacon from edge to edge. Every greasy spoon in Britain does this. They lay 30 rashers on a cold flat top at the start of service and let the heat do the work. The reason your full English at a proper cafe tastes better than the one you cook at home isn't the pan, isn't the butter, isn't the bacon. It's this. Number 16. Bloom your spices. Before you add any liquid to a curry or a stew, any liquid at all, fry your dried spices in hot oil or butter for 60 seconds. Cumin, coriander, turmeric, garam masala. Give them a minute in hot fat. The kitchen will change. There's this deep, warm fragrance that arrives. The kind you get walking past a proper Indian takeaway on a cold evening. That's the aromatic compounds being unlocked. Water alone can't do that. Only fat and heat together. Dumping spices straight into liquid gives you a flat, dusty flavour. Blooming gives you depth. It's the difference between a curry that tastes homemade and one that tastes like it came from somewhere. 1 extra minute, no extra ingredients. Number 15. The ice cube burger trick. Press a small indent into the centre of each burger patty. Drop a single ice cube into the dent. As it cooks, the ice melts slowly, steaming the meat from the inside. The result is a burger that stays juicy, even when it's cooked all the way through. No pink centre required, no dry, crumbly edges. This was supposedly invented by American diners, but it was British barbecue dads who perfected it, because British weather means your charcoal is never quite hot enough, and your burgers always take twice as long. The ice cube compensates for imperfect heat, which is, honestly, the most British thing I've ever heard. Number 14. Rest your meat. After roasting a chicken, a joint of beef, a steak, let it sit, covered loosely with foil, 10 minutes minimum. I know you're hungry. I know everything's ready. I know the plates are warm and the gravy's going cold. But here's what's happening inside that meat. The muscle fibres are relaxing. They're reabsorbing the juices that got pushed to the centre during cooking. If you cut now, those juices pour out onto your board. The meat ends up dry. 10 minutes gives you meat that's juicy from edge to centre. Every butcher in Britain will tell you this. Very few home cooks actually do it, because we are all, collectively, too impatient. Set a timer. Walk away. It's worth it. Number 13. Vinegar in your poaching water. 1 tablespoon of white vinegar into the simmering water before your eggs go in. The acid causes the egg white proteins to coagulate faster, so instead of those wispy strands floating everywhere, The white wraps tight around the yolk within seconds. A neat, compact poached egg, every time. Cafes across Britain have done this since the 1940s. The eggs don't taste of vinegar. That amount is too diluted to affect the flavour. It just gives you poached eggs that make people think you trained somewhere impressive. Can we talk about the biscuit tin for a second? Not as a trick, just as a thing. That old metal tin your nan kept digestives in. It wasn't just sentimentality. Metal tins regulate moisture and block light better than any plastic container. Biscuits stored in a tin stay crisp for weeks. The same biscuits in a plastic tub go soft within days. The tin also keeps out odours from the cupboard, so your rich tea doesn't end up tasting vaguely of cumin. When plastic containers took over in the 1990s, biscuit quality at home quietly collapsed. Nobody connected the two. Your nan wasn't being old-fashioned. She was being a food scientist. She just didn't have the vocabulary for it. Number 12. Bicarbonate of soda on your roast potatoes. This is the one that's in the bathroom cupboard. Parboil your potatoes. Drain them. Shake them in the colander to rough up the edges. You want them a bit bashed, a bit floury on the outside. Then, before they go into hot fat, toss them in a light dusting of bicarbonate of soda. The alkaline surface reacts with the heat and accelerates the Maillard reaction, the browning process. Your potatoes go darker, crunchier, and more golden in less time. The outside shatters when you bite through it. The inside stays fluffy. Heston Blumenthal talked about this years ago, and food writers acted like he'd discovered fire. But your great-aunt Mavis was doing it in 1974, without knowing the science. She just knew it worked. A box of bicarbonate costs 65p. It lasts a year. Number 11. Potato water for bread. When you boil potatoes, don't pour that starchy water down the sink. Let it cool. Use it to make your bread dough instead of plain water. The potato starch feeds the yeast, giving you a faster, stronger rise. The bread comes out softer, stays fresh longer, and has this subtle sweetness that plain water simply can't give you. Bakeries across Britain used potato water for centuries before commercial yeast improvers replaced it. The science is clear. Starch converts to simple sugars that yeast metabolizes more efficiently. You get a better loaf using something you were about to throw away. That is, genuinely, the whole philosophy of this list. Number 10. Stale bread makes better toast. Fresh bread from the bakery makes terrible toast. I know that sounds wrong, but it's too moist. The outside browns before the inside dries out, leaving you with a soggy centre behind a burnt shell. Bread that's a day or two old has lost just enough moisture that the heat penetrates evenly, golden, crunchy, all the way through. This is why your grandmother never toasted fresh bread. She knew the loaf needed a day on the counter first. It's also why the best bacon sandwiches in Britain are made at greasy spoons, using yesterday's delivery. They're not being cheap, they're being smart. Stop throwing away day-old bread. Start making better toast. Number 9. Baking soda in your scrambled eggs. A tiny pinch, 1/8 of a teaspoon for 3 eggs. That's all. The alkaline environment helps the egg proteins coagulate into fluffier, softer curds. You get scrambled eggs that look like clouds instead of rubber. Too much and you'll taste it, so keep it minimal. Combine it with low heat and constant stirring, and you get the kind of scrambled eggs that make guests ask what your secret is. This was a hotel breakfast trick from the 1960s. Kitchen porters in bed and breakfasts from Blackpool to the Highlands knew this before any celebrity chef put it on television. The secret cost less than a penny. Number 8. A tea bag in your gravy. This is the one London chefs are charging £40 a plate for. Drop a single black tea bag into your beef or lamb gravy. Let it steep for 2 minutes. Remove it. The tannins add depth and colour, turning thin, pale gravy into that glossy mahogany that makes you think it's been simmering for hours. Nobody can identify what you've done. They just know the gravy is incredible. 1 PG Tips bag costs about 2p. That is the cheapest flavour upgrade in the history of British cooking. This is what pub kitchens reach for when the gravy looks wrong and service is in 10 minutes. Now you know their secret. Number 7. Garlic bread from the toaster. Toast the bread first, then rub a raw garlic clove directly across the hot surface. The rough, crispy bread acts like a grater, shredding the garlic into the toast. Drizzle with olive oil. Pinch of flaky salt. Perfect garlic bread in under 2 minutes. No oven, no butter, no foil. This is how garlic bread is actually made in Spain and Italy. The British version, garlic butter baked in foil, was invented in the 1980s. The original is faster, lighter, and tastes better. Once you try it, you'll never go back. Before cling film and plastic bags took over, every British kitchen had a bread bin, usually wooden, sometimes ceramic, a bit battered, definitely not Instagram worthy. It wasn't just storage, it was climate control for your loaf. A good bread bin allows just enough air circulation to keep the crust crisp, while trapping enough moisture to stop the crumb going stale. Bread in a plastic bag goes soft and sweaty. Bread on the counter goes rock hard. Bread in a proper bin stays perfect for 3 to 4 days. Supermarkets stopped promoting bread bins around the time they started selling more pre-sliced loaves. Think about that. Number 6. Freeze leftover wine in ice cube trays. Before you say it, yes, I know. What is leftover wine? That sometimes there's half a glass left. Sometimes you opened something to cook with and didn't finish it. Pour it into an ice cube tray. Freeze it. Each cube is roughly 2 tablespoons. exactly what most recipes ask for. Wine that sits in the bottle for a week turns to vinegar. Wine in the freezer keeps its flavour for months. Drop a frozen cube of leftover Merlot into your shepherd's pie when you're deglazing the lamb mince. Your gravy will develop a depth you cannot explain and cannot stop thinking about. Number 5. Warm your plates before serving. Run your dinner plates under hot water for 30 seconds, or stick them in the oven at 60 degrees Celsius while you finish cooking. Food served on a warm plate stays at eating temperature for 12 to 15 minutes longer. Gravy doesn't congeal. Mashed potato doesn't form that cold skin. Every carvery in Britain does this. Every hotel kitchen does this. Almost nobody does it at home. And the difference between a Sunday roast that stays perfect from first bite to last is almost always just this. It costs nothing. It takes 30 seconds, and it makes everything taste like someone who actually cares cooked it. Number 4. A wooden spoon across the pot. When your pasta water or potatoes are about to foam over, lay a wooden spoon across the top of the pan. The foam hits the dry wooden surface and collapses on contact. The wood is hydrophobic enough to break the surface tension in the starch bubbles. This doesn't work with metal spoons, wood only. It buys you about 30 seconds, enough time to turn the heat down before you've got starchy water all over the hob. Every Italian grandmother knows this. Every British grandmother either learned it from them or figured it out independently. Number 3. Boil your eggs from cold water. Eggs in the pan, cold water, bring to the boil. Turn off the heat. Leave for 10 minutes. The gentle temperature rise means fewer cracked shells, more consistent results, and whites that set evenly, with yolks that stay creamy rather than chalky. Peel them under cold running water while they're still warm. This is how school kitchens have been making hard-boiled eggs across Britain for decades. Foolproof, every time. Number 2. Revive stale crisps in the oven. Crisps gone soft. Tortilla chips lost their crunch. Spread them on a baking tray. 5 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. The heat drives out the moisture they've absorbed, and they crisp right back up. Your nan would have done this without thinking, because throwing away food, even a half-eaten bag of Walkers, wasn't something her generation did. Crisps cost money. 5 minutes in the oven costs nearly nothing. Number 1. The sugar cube in the stew. And we end where we began. Your grandmother used to drop a sugar cube into the pot when reheating leftover stew. You thought she was losing it. The sugar caramelizes slightly as it dissolves, adding a subtle depth that prevents the bottom of the pot from catching. Better than any non-stick pan ever made. It also balances the acidity of whatever tomatoes or wine went in yesterday, which always sharpens overnight. 1 sugar cube, That's it. And suddenly reheated stew doesn't just taste like leftovers, it tastes like a meal someone made with intention. She knew. She always knew. She just couldn't explain it the way we can now. 20 tricks. Most of them cost less than £1 to try. Most of them take less than a minute to learn. None of them require a special pan. None of them need a chef's knife. None of them came from a recipe book written by someone with a TV deal. They came from kitchens where nothing was wasted, where there wasn't enough money to get it wrong, where people cooked every single day and figured things out through repetition and stubbornness and love. The best cooking knowledge we have isn't locked in Michelin-starred restaurants or culinary schools. It's in the things we forgot to ask before we lost the people who knew. So this week, try one. The bicarbonate roast potatoes, the tea bag gravy, the cold pan bacon. Just one. Then come back and tell me if it worked. I already know the answer, but I want to hear you say it.